election time, and we've got some measures we're going to speak about. Some lovely, lovely measures in the California area, in Los Angeles area, I believe. So if you're in the Los Angeles area, join me in and where I break down the initiatives and the state measures, and so you can find out and argue for them or against them. I'm going to break it down, let you know my personal opinion, and you can let me know your comment in the section down below, and maybe I'll change my opinion on it. Who knows? So let's start with State Measure 51. And I'm going to read them for you. School bonds funding for K through 12 school and community college facilities initiative statute authorized $9 billion in general obligation bonds for new constructional and modernization of K through 12 public school facilities, charter schools, and vocational educational facilities. The California Community College facilities fiscal impact state costs of about 17.6 billion to pay off both the principal 9 billion and interest 8.6 billion on the bonds, payments of about 500 million per year for 35 years. I'm going to go say yes, invest in our future, and I'm going to go ahead. If the money's there, let's do it. Let's move forward, invest in the future. So then we go measure 52. Medical Hospital Fee Program Initiative Constitutional Amendments and Statute extends indefinitely extends infidelity. No, extends indefinitely an existing statute that imposes fees on hospitals to fund medical health care services, care for uninsured patients, and children's health coverage. Fiscal impact: uncertain fiscal effect ranging from relatively little impact to annual state generally fund savings from about 1 billion to increased funding for public hospitals in the low hundreds of millions of dollars annually. I'm going to go ahead and say again yes on this. I'm going to say it's important to keep people healthy, so I'm going to go ahead and say yes. Then we've got revenue bonds statewide voter approval initiative constitutional amendment requires statewide voter approval before any revenue bonds can be issued or sold by a state for certain projects. If the bond amount exceeds 2 billion fiscal impact, state and local fiscal effects are unknown and would depend on which projects are affected by the measure and what actions government agencies and voters take in response to the measure's voting requirements. One of the main arguments, I'm saying no, because basically this counters all the previous other arguments, or some of them before, if they exceed 2 billion, and I do believe that the school bonds is 9 billion, and then we've got the Medi-Cal is about 1 million, but so it affects, I believe, 52. So then we've got the situation with, I'm saying no, because one of the main arguments is in Hasbe Shalom, in case of a disaster, then, we want to be able to allocate that money and help people. So that's one of the main arguments. So I'm voting no on 53. Legislation, and proceedings initiatives constitutional amendment and statute prohibits legislature from passing any bill unless it is published on the internet for 72 hours before vote, requires legislature to record its proceedings and post on the internet, authorizes use of recordings, fiscal impact, one-time cost of 1 million to 2 million, ongoing cost of about 1 million annually to record legislative meetings and make videos on those meetings available on the internet. I'm saying yes on 54 because that also creates jobs. Somebody actually has to record these sessions, and so that creates and somebody has to perhaps edit them if they want to keep some stuff out. I hope that they don't, but somebody has to work on the audio, so it hires jobs. So I'm saying yes. Please record stuff, so that way we have access and we know what's going down. Then we've got 55. So yes on 54. So 55, tax extension to fund education and healthcare initiative constitutional amendment extends by 12 years the temporary personal income tax increases enacted in 2012 on earnings over $25,000, with revenues allocated to K through 12 schools, California community colleges, and in certain years healthcare. Fiscal impact: revenue of 4 billion to 9 billion annually from 2019 to 2030. Depending on economy and stock market, increased funding for schools, community colleges, healthcare for low-income people, budgets, reserves, and debt payments. I'm saying yes on 55 because it taxes the people that are making over $250,000. And if you're making over that much, you can afford it. So I'm saying yes. Come on, Rich. Then we've got 56, cigarette tax to fund healthcare, tobacco use prevention research and law enforcement. Initiative, constitutional amendment and statute increases cigarettes by tax by $2 per pack, with equivalent increase onto other tobacco products and electronic cigarettes containing nicotine. Fiscal impact: additional net revenue of $1 billion to $1.4 billion in 2017 to 2018, with potentially lower revenues in future years. Revenues would be used primarily to augment spending on healthcare and low-income Californians. So I'm saying yes. I'm saying yes on 56 because basically what happens is cigarette is addicting. People in low-cost families, they smoke the cigarettes and then they end up in the hospital. And then who has to split the bill? It's the American taxpayers. So I think perhaps smokers should be splitting their own bill. So I'm voting yes on 56. Please, I hope we have like 100%. Like, this is a tax only on cigarettes. So if you're smoking, sorry, you're going to have to pay for your own health care. So yes on 56. So then we've got 57. Criminal sentences, parole, juvenile, criminal proceedings, and sentencing initiative, constitutional amendment, and statute. Allows parole consideration for nonviolent felon, authorizes sentences credits for rehabilitation, good behavior, and education, provides juvenile court judge decides whether juveniles will be prosecuted as adult. Fiscal impact: net state savings likely in the tens of millions of dollars annually depending on implementation. Net county costs likely of a few $1,000,000 annually. I'm saying yes on 57 because basically allows parole and consideration for non-violent felons and authorizes sentences for credits for rehabilitation, good behavior, and education. So it allows juveniles to be able to, come out of that shell that has been placed on them, and then reveal their own light. So yay on 57. Then we've got 58, English Proficiency Multilingual Education Initiative Statute preserves requirement that public schools ensure students obtain English language proficiency, requires that schools districts to solicit parent community input in developing language acquisition programs, requires instruction to ensure English acquisition as rapidly and effectively as possible, authorizes school districts to establish dual language immersion programs for both native and non-native English speakers. Fiscal impact: non-notable fiscal impact on school districts or state government. I'm saying yes. Basically what it's saying, it's that, we have to have English proficiency and multilingual education. So in order to basically, we have to teach these kids that English is the language that we need to learn in America, but at the same time, we need to recognize that these kids are coming from another country. So we need to be able to create that bridge along the way so that they can. I'm one of those kids. I'm one of those kids that came to the country, had no idea how to speak English. And thank you to my family and thank you to my extended family that I came into, I'm able to now speak English in the way that I do. So, so I'm one of those people that had those kind of programs. So this is an example. So I say yes on 58. Then we've got 59. Corporations, political spendings, federal causes. This is a woozy. You know what? We're going to pause and I'm going to put a part 2 into it because this one's a woozy one. But you're going to want to know about this one because this one's a spinner and I'm going to break it down for you. So watch for the next series in the information down below. Keep posted. Isn't it exciting?